Welcome to another edition of Quick Talk. I'm Pastor Dedrick. This is my trusted colleague, Sister Jackie, again. We're here today to talk about something that's dear to my heart that deals with education, and I thought we'd bring it to your attention. Sister Jackie, you want to start out, or you want me to start?
Yeah, so I just want to start by saying, in education, you have pretty much the start of your real career in a sense, particularly your educational career. And so when you're looking at that, you know how students come to ninth grade, and generally, ninth grade year is that kind of settling year.
Right.
It's a transition year. It's a year to kind of unpack your backpack, see where you stand. You're trying to make friends. You're trying to see what sports do you fit in. So it's a lot going on. You're just trying to adapt and adjust to, hey, this is very different than middle school.
Right.
So a lot of times when students come into high school, that first year may not be a good year in terms of grades.
Right.
So I wanted to see how you felt about, should we count that year, or should we kind of exclude it and then let kids kind of get on board and look at their GPAs from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year? What do you think we should do with that?
Well, I got a theory on this, Sister Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should have a 2 GPA system. I think we should have a 9th, 10th grade year GPA, and we should have an 11th, 12th grade GPA.
9th and 10th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because if you're a 4.0 student, this wouldn't even hinder you. But what it would do, it would give those that finally realize that they want to go somewhere an opportunity to get back on the ship, as we say. And we have to understand this, that most people don't understand that the 9th grade year is the year that we really pushing our kids' lives into a point that they say, this is what you're going to do when you're an adult. What college are you going to go to based off started at the 9th grade year? What you going to do in life starts on the 9th grade year, because you got to have a GPA. If I don't take my 9th grade year serious enough, it is very unlikely that I may get into that medical school. I know I have this thing that I want to be a doctor. But one thing we've learned in education is this, that transition is a hindrance to any student. You're losing your friends, you're going to a new environment, you're trying to learn that environment, transition. And 9th grade year is a transitional year because they're leaving middle school, transitioning to a high school, trying to figure out where they're supposed to be. By the time they really get to know the school, their 9th grade year, the school year is over.
That's true.
Pretty much, school year is over. So maybe I get on track my 10th grade year, but my 9th grade year has hindered that. So even if I make a 4.0 my 10th grade year, but I made a 2.0 my 9th grade year, I mean, that's a 3.0 as we would say, but we still behind the 8 ball, as I say. So then I got a 4.0 my 11th grade year, and I got a 4.0 my 12th grade year.
Right.
It would show that I made tremendous progress, and I want to go. Now schools can look at the progress that kids have made between 2 different time frames. Most kids don't even know they want to go to college till around their 11th grade year. A lot of them make their mind up even at their senior year. And you would give them that chance as opposed to saying, I'm sorry, you below average. And it is not because of your senior year and your junior year. It's because I was so far behind my 9th and my 10th grade year. And you know how hard it is to bring a GPA up if you get behind.
Well, I'm thinking maybe I always try to look at what's equitable for everyone. So is that fair that it takes you time to get yourself together so that you can be admitted into a certain college or university, whereas I did the right thing starting my 9th grade year? So how is that fair when I may not get admitted to the college that I have strived and worked so hard to get admitted to since the day I entered entered high school.
Well, let me
You
say
know,
this.
so is that really fair to
I
everyone?
I understand what you're asking, and I think we have to put there will be some guidelines, but at the same time, just take what's this. If I can go back and I can say what's this. This kid lost his mom or his father or sister or brother in his 90th year, and he didn't function well based on the fact that he was in a bereaved state.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna counsel. But I'm gonna count. Well, how old are you in the ninth grade? Approximately
14.
what? 14 years old. I'm gonna see. This is what I'm saying. You're holding a 14-year-old accountable for what's gonna happen for the rest of his life. And a 15-year-old, 14, 15-year-old. Here we are. We're trying. I'm just saying. Do you think that there should be another chance? All I'm trying to do is give you another chance to get into a university. I'm not trying to send you to Harvard or to Yale or Princeton or anything like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just trying to get you into a state school, like here in Tennessee, MTSU, UT Martin or something, something like that. I'm trying to get you into a state school, Tennessee State. I'm trying to get you into a state school, as opposed to saying you're not qualified for that school.
I'm not so sure that it doesn't happen the way that you've described it. Like ninth grade year may not go so well, and then 11th and 12th grade year goes much better. I think that you still have the opportunity to get into a state school. I don't think anyone would deny you. In fact, I think that, when I'm looking at writing letters of recommendation, I write about that so that they can reflect over the entire transcript and know that this kid really have his work ethic has changed since he has entered from 9th, 10th grade to 11th and 12th grade year. So I'm not so sure that, that does not happen. I can see a little bit of equality in it, because you don't want to penalize somebody, especially when they're going through something and you don't know, and they haven't had that chance to really connect with that one teacher that keeps you kind of rolling through school. I know I can go and talk to Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, and he's helping me. But at the same time, I'm like, how is that fair to other kids that may want to go to their dream school or may want to get into a school who has that 4.0 every single year? And
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not disqualifying those kids, because even when I went to school, I had pretty good grades, but I had some friends that didn't have as good grades, and they went in on qualified admissions. I remember the statement. They said we're on qualified admission. So now you got to go in. You got to take all these remedial courses again, and see based on your GPA. Not the fact they didn't pass them in high school. They did great in their last couple of years, but they first couple of years they did like, I'm not doing college material. I'm not doing it. Then they woke up one day. Ran into a little girl a couple of years ago, man. She was an outstanding basketball player, and couldn't get into any schools because she didn't take herself serious the first couple of years, and her grades. She said, I can't get into that school, won't take me. You remember we had that big deal with I can't think of the basketball player name. He wanted to go to Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt wouldn't take him because they said his GPA wasn't good. He ended up in Kentucky.
yeah, I think his name was Mercer.
There you go. Then he ended up in the pros. You see what I'm saying? See, somebody was gonna kill his dream if somebody else didn't take him. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But because he couldn't get there, if you had looked at something, and look at what this kid has been doing from here to here, based on his last 2 years as opposed to his first 2 years. I'm just looking at, and we could save a ton of money, with scholarships and helping kids that really wanted to do the right thing, as opposed to those that don't do the right thing. Because right now in the state of Tennessee, they're saying you can go to any junior college or 2-year college and we'll pay for it free. Even if I decide I want to go and I just want to go party for my first year, they're going to pay for it free. Now they're going to pay for it free because all I got to do is just enroll, and they're going to pay for a whole year to let me fail. Now, what am I saying here? I'm saying now I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
No, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is that even those kids there, I mean, I think we need an accountability factor, for when we do things like this. That, if I'm going to give you free money, I would suggest, this might be a suggestion, if the state's going to give free money, and they're talking about money, we're talking about billions of dollars, and now we're talking about schools are not having enough funding. We're talking about teachers not having enough funding.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a lottery system that says they give $100 million away a year to students that want to go to any 2 years institution. But they won't. But I wonder. I haven't done my homework on this one, but I wonder how many of those students graduate. From that institution with an associate's degree and go on into
a 4-year institution.
A 4-year institution. But I can guarantee this. I guarantee you it's less than 50%.
You think?
Or I guarantee you. Or 50%. If not, it's hovering right above it. I'm just taking a stab at it. Because so many people, I just look at the people that came to school with me. How many were just in and out, just that quick? Just that quick. It's not the fact that it was a 4-year institution. It was the fact that they just quit school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't go to class. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And they were on campus.
Right.
So now you got a person that you say got to drive to a campus and do some things. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be a part of it. So that's that right there. That's a factor there that we didn't even have. We were on campus and losing students. That's why I say 50%.
Right.
So if the state would say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you the money, but you got to take out a student loan for it. The money's guaranteed. But if you don't make a 2.0 or better, we don't pay. Now you have something to work toward. Man, I got to stay in school because I can't afford this.
Right.
It will push you. But to give somebody something free, how many times we know we're giving an 18-year-old something free now? Again. And we said he's going to cherish it to the point that he ain't going to let nothing get in the way of it. Highly unlikely.
I'm wondering, if colleges should kind of look at things more from a realistic perspective on their ends. Like when they see a transcript with a kid that has been in 9th grade that didn't do so well. 10th grade did a little bit better. 11th and 12th grade year did excellent. I wonder, should they pick up the phone and say, hey, I just want to talk to you about this kid. I see that 9th and 10th grade year.
Right.
If they could do a better job at looking at kids from a different perspective, more so than looking at those students who have those 4.0s, because a lot of times when you're looking at scholarships, you'll see that every single time. We want a 3.5, a 3.8. What about those kids that do not have that has the financial need?
And that's where I'm at.
The financial need is classified so heavily on your family income cannot be over $40,000 or $60,000. I'm like, so you have to live in poverty and to get that scholarship.
Right.
And a lot of times I feel like this, and I feel like this even with the sorority that I'm in. When people like, oh, you should know this person real well before you bring them into the sorority. And I feel like you take a 50-50 chance on everybody. Even kids that have a 4.0 that was valedictorian of their class. That doesn't mean that they're going to matriculate well and graduate. It does not mean that. Every single time. I know the risk is higher when I have that 2.7 or 2.6. I know the risk is higher, but it doesn't mean that person with that 4.0 is going to get through college and do the right thing and not drop out, because the likelihood some of them dropping out is great as well.
But watch this. What about the late bloomers, as we call it? Late bloomers. Michael Jordan didn't play basketball in high school. Hey, number 1 basketball player in the world, as they said one time. Am I right?
Right.
So he didn't even play in high school. But look where he's late bloomer. You see what I'm saying? Or what, got cut in high school or whatever happened. I don't know the story. But the key is this. We got to figure out a way to say that this kid deserves a chance. And with the scholarship. Even if we go, why is there a scholarship? Why don't we give a scholarship to say, if you raise your GPA by 1.5 you can get this. If you raise your GPA by at least a point, there's a scholarship for you. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So now I can say, man, I went from a 2.7 or 2.5 to a 3.5. I went from a 2.0 to a 3.0. There's a scholarship waiting for you based on your efforts.
Right.
But we don't have anything like this. So there is no reward for pretty much there's no reward for anybody less than a 3.5. You know,
It's true in a lot of cases.
you see what I'm saying? There's a
Yeah.
lot of, you know, I mean, you're gonna have to be a minority. Y'all can get a minority scholarship. You know, then, you know,
But minority still has ties.
I mean,
to
that's
it
what
a
I'm saying.
lot,
Look at the
so,
ties
you
to
know,
it.
mhm.
You know, so but for the most part, when you get these scholarships, you know, it doesn't give any of them a chance. You know, even if they're a minority with a 2.7, it's not going to give them anything.
Right.
But what about a scholarship? Say, hey, if you raise your GPA, you can show me where you raise your GPA a whole point. There's money for you.
And they
'Cause
do
I
that.
know,
They do that with athletes. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
may not get a scholarship your first year. You walk on this team, you do well,
Yeah, right.
you help us succeed, and all this good stuff, and help the coach keep their job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, then okay, now I got a partial scholarship for you, and then the next year I got a full scholarship for you,
Yeah.
depending on your progress. So I can see something like that
Yeah.
definitely being very beneficial to a lot of kids. You might go in having to take out some student loans, but I know I got to keep my grades
Yeah.
up so that I don't have to borrow money
But
next time.
let me
they're
go
gonna
back
give
to
me the
that student
scholarship.
loan thing. So if the state, they got money to give you to go to college, right? So if you take out a student loan and you and you meet the criteria that the state wants you to meet, then the state should pay that back, right? You see what I'm saying? The
I
state
agree.
the state said take out student, but if you don't, if you quit, that belongs to you.
Right. Would you make
So
sense?
but watch this now. If 50%, let's just use the 50. If 50% are quitting and the state is spending $100 million a year on college,
Wow.
that's $50 million that the state would save. They're going to pay they're going to write the check anyway. So why don't you just wait till every semester and say, you know what, you made it.
Yeah.
Okay, now at
we're
the end,
gonna
if you're going, you re-up next year. If you re-up next year and you say I'm continuing to go, then the state said, well, we ain't gonna pay. We're gonna wait for next year. So if you fail that next semester, state said we just paying one semester.
Or they get paid.
I mean, they
they
can
got to
pay
pay
every
the student
semester. I
loan.
mean, I'm just looking at-
Send in your information that you took out the student loan through,
Yeah.
and you
They will pay it
they
every
will pay
semester
it every
for you.
semester, right?
Just
So
like
it
they're
makes
giving
sense.
us money.
Right.
So, but that would save the state so much money. Now, what's this? Now, let's go back to teaching. You got money for your educational system for the state of Tennessee because none of the lottery no lottery funds go to public education.
So if a kid was not successful, then that money should be funneled into
To public education, yeah.
somehow,
Let you because I think it's unfair that a kid can say, I want to go to school and go out there and just decide, you know what, I ain't going to class no more. And you have to foot a bill because you know what, you're going to pay college for him being just enrolled,
Right.
even if he don't go to class.
Right. That's true.
You're going to pay that. You're going to pay that. So now that's just wasted money. But if he did not succeed, then you don't pay Sally Mae, whoever he's with. You don't pay them you don't pay them, and then now he has a bill for it. That's $20,000 to come back.
Correct.
To public education,
Correct.
and you can use it for so many different things: textbooks, material. Look how many kids free lunches or whatever,
Right. Right.
and it will take the burden off. You
a
know,
lot of other things.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Maybe you should reach out to the Department of Education and reach out to the lottery system and maybe try to get them to listen to you.
People ain't gonna listen, man. They just want. It's about money for them. It's not about doing the right thing. You know, Jackie, doing the right thing sometimes is so easy.
That's true.
But if I do the wrong thing, you know, I'm gonna benefit from it.
Right. That's true.
Doing the right thing. You know, scholarships and stuff like that. You know, I used to love, you know, listen to Tom Joyner because he had a thing for HBC using 100% of every penny that he had went to them to those kids.
Yeah.
Man, we just raised $10,000. Call two students. They're going to get $5,000 scholarship. It wasn't about administrative fees and all this stuff. He said, man, you know what? This is for those kids.
Right. Good.
And I think we need to look at a system that's going to be a little more kid friendly.
More beneficial for children.
And that the kids will benefit from it. Because when I go back and I look at all of the wizards and the whizzes that we call Einsteins and all these guys, they want to disqualify them. Because you know what, they didn't have a grade. But they were splitting atoms and E equals MC squared and all that stuff. You know, something we never thought about, right?
Right, exactly.
And now they're the most they would consider them some of the most brilliant people in the world.
Correct.
But Einstein would never got a scholarship.
Exactly.
He's,
GPA was too low.
no, I'm just using what I'm saying.
Right. I agree. Well, I think we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about this. Maybe your comments surrounded around whether or not we should have two different GPAs, whether or not we should look at kids who have, had a rough start, in their first couple of years in high school and then got themselves together. I think a lot of things that pastor has said is real beneficial for students, especially when you're talking about, hey, let's not pay. You can go to school wherever, but let's not pay until after you have made that progress in school. Some type of stipulations have been set. So we would appreciate any comments, any feedback you have. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Amen. Have a great day.